What's going on, everybody? We are live here, and I am super excited because I am about to interview my little brother. And this is actually something that we did yesterday on his balcony. And just to once again, just to reiterate, he has done extremely well in this business, and he is somebody that has inspired a lot of people in this business. And it didn't happen overnight for him, but he just stuck with it, and he has built one of the most phenomenal businesses in not just all of Europe, but really in the world within our industry. And it just has some of the most amazing leaders in his team, and many of you are part of that team. And if you're not, we should all be working with this guy. It's just a lot of fun. But I'm going to press play here and show you guys this interview. All right, everybody, you guys have enjoy this and see if you can grab some good nuggets from this guy. All right. Hey everybody, what's going on? I know that we are have a lot of sunlight here for it being live in the evening, but this is actually just a replay here. I am so fortunate today to be joined by my little brother, Ric, who has, I've worked with him now for over 14 years. Well, actually, I just started the business just almost 14 years ago, but he's been with the company for 14 years now, and he has reached the very top, and he's done extremely well financially because of claims and so on. We can't share on here what he's done financially, but anyway, he's done very well. And as you can see, we're sitting here right now on his balcony in Valencia, in Spain. And just tell me really quickly before we get into this, why are you wearing your sunnies, man?
It's the future is very bright, you know, so I have all this light in the future, so I have to put them on.
All right, we'll take these off, and we'll say that's one really bad dad joke. But the best thing about being a dad is you get to make these dad jokes, right? So you live here now with Charlotte and your two kids, and you've just been here for what, like 3 months?
Yep, just 3 months basically. Yep.
Okay. But what I want to do here today is I want to find out a little bit more. You've obviously reached the very top here within our company called Presidential Director, and I want to find out a little bit more about, like, let's take it back to before you started this business. What were you doing? Tell us a little bit more. Where are you from? And
yep. So obviously I'm from Sweden, like Daniel, and surprise. And I lived in Luxembourg when I was introduced to the business. So I just came home from the United States. I was doing my degree, a bachelor's in economics and international relations. Went to, a top school, top university there, studied really hard. Thought I was going to come back to enter the working force, and I'd had about 8 or 10 internships in the banking industry. So that's where it led me to, and I started working in banking. But very quickly I found, okay, this is not really what I want to do. It was boring, and yeah, that was my situation before New Skin.
Okay, and so take us through, like, how did you get introduced to the opportunity? Take us through, like, that day and what happened.
Yep. So as I can remember this, basically what happened was that I was at the same time as doing banking, I was playing in a semi-professional basketball. And I was using the products, so Farmanix products, Overdrive, LifePack, products like that, because I needed all the help I can get to increase my performance. One day, I was going to restock the products. So I went to Nicholas Osterberg's place. I was going to buy more products. I wasn't consciously looking for an opportunity, but somewhere in the back of my mind, asked the question, so what about the opportunity? And then we sat down, he told me about the opportunity. And the more he told me, the more excited I got.
So how did you know there was even an opportunity here? Like,
I didn't really know because nobody told me. But I mean, I think my subconscious kind of played in there, or something, the universe or something. I don't know happened because if he could do it, if he could work for himself, why can't I work for myself?
So you kind of knew there was some kind of a business somehow that he was doing a business with this. And then you just said, all right, tell me more about this.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly, yeah. In a way, I took an initiative to approach him just to inquire more information, and then he told me more, and I was like, wow, this is great.
What was it that first initial meeting that just made you decide?
I think 2 things. One thing is just to work for myself and decide myself and be my own boss, because I didn't enjoy, working for somebody else. But the other thing was the income potential. I was like, whoa, you can earn that much money? And it's in my hands, it's in my control, and I could do that if I just like put my head down and apply myself and commit. Those 2 things was like, wow.
Okay, awesome. And so did you take a few weeks, a few months to decide, or what happened?
Right away I decided I was going to do this. I in the car ride back home, I was driving, I was listening to music, I was dancing, I was pulling down the window, it was cold outside, I was just so happy because I found this opportunity. So I basically decided straight away, this is what I'm gonna do.
Okay, brilliant. So you decide now, you jump in, you're how old at the time, 22?
Yeah, just gonna turn 23, just almost 23 years old, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. And so you decided the corporate world wasn't for you, you have this really nice, expensive, good degree and so on. Now, take us through those first few years. Like, did it go fast? Like, what did you do? Like, how did you first do it? Did you approach people you knew? Did you go to the cold market?
Yeah, I mean, we were working mainly with a scanner, with Pharmanex, nutrition. I started with people I knew. A couple months down the line, sort of 3-4 months down the line, I started to branch out more into the cold market. And yeah, basically that's what happened. And I became gold executive after 5 months. So, because I recruited you. So that was great. But then after that, it was kind of slowed down the development, and it was after 2 years, I hit another level. After 3 years, another level, so on. So every year I pretty much hit a level. So a little bit maybe slower than the average person.
Brilliant. And so when you first started to speak to people about this, did you speak about the product or the opportunity, or both?
Probably 90% of the time I spoke about the opportunity, I'd say. In the beginning, maybe it was a little bit more product oriented. It was scanning people, but primarily business, and later on branched more and more into business, yeah.
Okay, amazing. And did you start from the beginning? How did you learn all your skills? Did you work a lot? Did you go out there and just do it? Did you read about it? Did you do a lot of personal development? Take us through those first early years.
I mean, the majority of what I did was obviously to go out there and do it, to take action and learn by doing, because that's what I believe is the best way to learn. But obviously, yeah, I did read books to educate myself in the industry and educate myself in a couple things. I went to events. Of course, I had close communication with my uplines, but I think primarily the best learning curve was to actually go out there and just to take action and do it.
All right, brilliant. And tell us, did you have any such idiotic things that you did in those first few years? Like, can you take us back to 1 or 2 of those stories? Like, just dumb things that you now go look back and you're like, man, I was an idiot. Anything that happened?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think maybe one of the things that we tried to do was we wanted to go into these companies to scan the whole company. We spent these many hours trying to construct this perfect letter, and the writing was perfect, the font was perfect, and the English was perfect, but it didn't work. So
take us through this. So obviously we have this technology that can scan for antioxidants, and we go into these companies and we look to convince the HR department that we should come in and scan all the employees so that we can improve the health of the company and therefore improve the performance of the employees, right?
Yeah.
So we just completely changed it from being a network marketing business model to just looking to be a service, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one thing. And did you have any other things that you look back and you're like, maybe that wasn't the best idea?
Yeah, I mean, one time I traveled about 3 hours by car, and then I was stood up. The meeting didn't happen. So a lot of those kind of things could be prevented today, I think, with speaking online or speaking on the phone, or doing some kind of presentation before. So there's a lot of things we did wrong, in correcting the presentation and making sure the presentation was on point, and making sure the font was perfect, the color was perfect. But the problem was we didn't really use the presentation because we spent all the time making the perfect presentation, so we didn't go out there to actually present. And so that was another mistake we made. So, I mean, I could sit here all day to talk about different mistakes we made.
Brilliant, excellent. No, but I always love to see, what are some dumb things that maybe people are focusing too much on. So you're saying, all it really comes down to is it doesn't really matter how bad you are at speaking to people. You just need to get out there and do it, right? And just speak to people and share your story. So, for example, if you have somebody new that starts in your business today, what do you recommend for them to do to kind of get going quicker and not play around with PowerPoints all the time and so on?
Yeah, I mean, just to obviously just to start by taking action. It's all about the number of people you speak to, the number of people you invite, the number of people you expose either the products or the opportunity to. Have close communication, of course, with your senior partner or partners, and just to follow, sort of what we're doing and just do it.
Awesome. And what about international expansion? I mean, that's something that you've always kind of focused on. Why is that? And what are some of your suggestions for expanding into new markets?
Yeah, sure. I mean, when I was introduced, we were living in Luxembourg, and I didn't speak the languages in Luxembourg, and I kind of say, okay, how can I expand? And places I went to immediately. One was Sweden, my home country, and the other one was actually Spain. And I think it's so exciting to expand to new market. It's just a lot of fun, and it's a nice pioneering job. So decide where you're going to go, have a reason behind it. Usually, if you can, today you can use technology to get in contact with people from that market and build excitement. You know, say I'm expanding my business to Spain, and Spain's going to be the next big market, and we're looking for some key people here who are interested in this new project to take this company from small to big.
So even though Spain had been open for many years, you can still come up with these kind of great lines of excitement and building energy for that market, right? A little bit. I mean, I moved to the UK, and there wasn't much happening there, and later on, you know, it slowly kind of grew. And what made you come to joining the UK?
Yeah, no, of course. That's even better because people spoke English there, you know, so I could actually communicate in this networking business. It's easier if you can talk to people in the same language. But really, I mean, it was a little bit half of like an accident, but also a little bit intentional. Daniel invited me to come because things started happening there. You recruited, I think, Guy Rowley, I think, at that time, and it's like, okay, things are starting to happen. I just came to visit, but then I liked it. I mean, London's a nice city, lots of things happening. People actually spoke English, that helped, and I saw the potential. And what I liked about the UK and all of UK, but also London, is so international, and then from there you can expand to the rest of the world.
So this is about what, 2 years into your business or so?
Roughly
around there, 2.5 to
yeah,
3 years almost. 3 years into your business.
Maybe
because I'd already been in the business for
two and a half, I think.
Well, that's when I moved to the UK, 2.5 years.
Okay,
into.
yeah.
So it was about 3.5 years in the business. Now, was rent really expensive in London when you moved there?
I had just slept on the floor there pretty much. Or we had a pull-out bed. I went to buy a pull-out bed for about 20 quid, and just pulled out the bed. It's one of those beds you lay in, and the bed's here, but your body is about right down here.
Brilliant. So at the time, you're kind of selling this opportunity, but you're not having huge success. So what would you recommend to somebody that, you know, they've been in the business for what they consider a long time, might be 4 months, 6 months. Now you've been in the business for 3.5 years. You still weren't making that much money at the time, were you? How would you recommend for somebody that is not making a lot of money, like how can they then speak to people about this opportunity and where it's going to take them?
I think two different ways. One thing that I did is obviously I had this big belief and big vision and painting that picture for people. If you really believe, and if your belief is higher than their belief, you're going to influence them, right? So that's one thing that I think both of us had there, showing that big picture and painting the picture and the vision. But the second thing you can always do is to use other success stories and people that are your senior partners or anybody in your team really that's having great success, and just to use these great stories and share stories. That's what it's all about.
So, and take us back to that. I mean, you were quite lucky. In Luxembourg, there were quite a few successful people within our business, and you got to meet all of them and get to know them. So you kind of got that belief, right, from that very early on.
Absolutely. I mean, that helped, of course, to see different success stories. We attended some events, and we spent some time with our senior partners and even other leaders that were successful. Absolutely.
So what would you say are like the top kind of 3-4 keys to somebody's success in the business coming in? Like, if somebody joins the business, like what would you say they need to focus on?
Okay. I mean, I think when you come in, you got to treat it like a business. Don't treat it like a hobby, but treat it like a business. And like I did, I decided from day one I'm going to be successful. Because if I decide I'm going to be successful, I don't need to hesitate, and I don't need to reconsider my choice about the opportunity every week, or go in and out. And so that's one thing, is commit, 100%. You're going to do it. Then consistency is hugely important. It's not about doing masses of work in one day and then taking a few days off, but how can you do a little bit every day? So
if you start part-time, like you say, what would you say it's a minimum every day that you need to put into it?
I think a good productive hour is pretty much a minimum, I would say, but that's the minimum. But when I say 1 hour, I mean 1 hour of contacting people and exposing people, not 1 hour of filing your papers and reading about the products.
We're doing PowerPoint presentations.
Yeah,
Like us.
exactly.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, and so obviously now you've been in the business for 14 years and you've seen crazy amount of success stories. Can you share with us like 2 or 3 of your favorite success stories, like in your team or?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them, but I mean, one is yours. Yours is a great one. I mean, it took you how long to Blue Diamond? Maybe we shouldn't share this, but
so it just took a long time. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Daniel, it took about 12 years to hit the top level of the company, and then he had this exponential growth, and has a lot of great leaders, team leads, and Blue Diamonds in his organization. So that's a great story because it's all about a story about perseverance and not giving up. I like Andrea Kovacs' story. She didn't have much. She had a little bit of success. I mean, she was executive, solid executive, good volume. She became gold executive, then maybe dropped down a little bit, and then all of a sudden she committed, and then she was. We remember this. We talked every single day, several times a day, because we were like, okay, that's it. Enough is enough. Now we're gonna make it to Ruby. Let's do Ruby, and then she made it. She did Ruby, and that was her turning point. And she hit Ruby. She went on a trip, I think, and then after that, the rest is history.
Exploding organization. And what about obviously you worked, you have amazing teams all over the place. But like share like one of your favorite stories from Romania, for example, and how much this opportunity can really change somebody's life.
Yeah, I mean there's some great stories. Just 2 quick ones. One is a girl that's. She has a condition where she's actually paralyzed, right? And she is very limited on her opportunities that she could actually do. And so for her to be able to work from home, and she's hit brand director Emerald, where the average income, for an Emerald is, let's say it's around 3,000 euros, and the average income in Romania is maybe 300 euros. That's life-changing. And another great story from Romania as well is a lady called Tunde. She actually was a part of a single mother's homes, right? So she was a single mother. Her ex-partner died in an accident, and she was with her child. She couldn't take care of her child, and she was there to learn how to take care of her child in a good way, but also to help with her finances because she didn't have enough money to live on her own. And today she's a Blue Diamond executive. And then I told you what the average income was in Romania compared to the average.
So she's completely changed her life then.
Completely.
Obviously, we can't talk too much about money on a public call like this, but so that's amazing to hear. What about personal development side of things? Like, do you have any favorite books?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the really good books out there, Compound Effect, I really like. It's great. I think that encapsulates a lot of the personal development learnings into one. I think a simple book like Go for No can help a lot of people. And then there's obviously some books about the industry that's important. Beats Money, Go Pro. I read a couple of different books.
And what do you do? I mean, a lot of people come into this and they're like, well, how much time should you spend daily, like on mindset and personal development, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, about 20 minutes if you have an average. If you have a real passion for it, okay, you can spend slightly more, but you should work to increase your belief, your knowledge, about what we're doing. Absolutely.
Okay, amazing. And now, obviously, like you've done extremely well in the business. So do you still read books and things like that? Do you still do all the habits?
I mean, to be honest with you, not all the habits, I'll be honest with you, but I do my best to still recruit, still stay in the game, still do the business, still, of course, do personal developments, read books. I have 2 small kids now and trying to do everything and run a household, and we've moved twice this year, so I do my best, but absolutely, I need to stay in the game because if I don't stay in the game, I can't expect anybody else to do all the great habits.
So, I mean, just to give you guys an example, today we actually, we drove about an hour from here, and we did a presentation. I brought my brother, because my Spanish is not that good. His is a little bit better, which he's learned pretty much purely from building teams in South America and so on, and Spain. And what was amazing with Rick is, like, he actually just, like, takes out, the Gallant Spa and just starts doing this demo on half the face, and it doesn't matter how successful he is. He still goes through those basics, those steps. and also supports his downline, and that's what I absolutely love. I mean, we were. You probably got in there and you were like, okay, what's going to happen here? You know, like, but you go into every meeting thinking like, hey, this could potentially be like the next success story.
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, to an extent, you have to believe in the person you're talking to. You have to believe that they can do something, because most of the people out there, they don't really believe that they can maybe be successful.
So that takes me to a point. So one of the things that I always felt my brother was really good at is I had people on my team, and he was always like, look, that person right there, I think they're really good. You should go work with them. And he's usually right. Like, those are the people that I then started working with more and started believing in them more maybe than they believed in themselves. And then they took off and just became really successful. What do you see? Like, what are some of those factors that you look for in people that maybe tend to become more successful, maybe even though it takes time?
Yeah, I mean, I think the commitment we talked about, are they committed? Do they have time that they can invest into the business, do the business? And are they coachable? Like, you know, how I can't coach somebody who's not coachable, right? It's impossible. So those are some of the things that I look for, because if they have if they're hungry, basically, to make success, then of course.
So then it doesn't matter like what income level they're at. It doesn't matter what context they have, as long as they have a desire. You mean?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And do you see those are the people that are contacting you and like asking you for help all the time?
Yeah, exactly. The proactive people, people that, you know, are quite positive as well, as going to help you to have a bit of a more positive mindset. Absolutely, you know. So a good example is Guy. Catherine's a good example. Very positive people, right? Even before the business.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of people that, you know, if they really want to go for it, they can be successful. And they were committed, and obviously they're still great leaders today in the business.
And obviously, social media has changed the game a lot. But would you say that you're now focusing just on social media, or do you do both, or do you have still offline, like you built your business, your initial business?
Yeah, I mean, primarily my recruiting work is online or social media, right? But I have to adapt, and I have to be flexible and adapt to people, because I have teams of people that are not maybe working as much with social media, but even they are starting to branch out. So what I tell them is like, hey, keep on doing what you're doing, do the traditional way, but how can we learn more about social media and to use that to your advantage? And the people using with social media, I say, continue what you're doing amazing, but don't forget to also take it offline to build a relationship and to balance it out a little bit.
Okay. And just to kind of like end it here, I just want to talk a little bit more about a few things about we maybe can't give too many details, but about like obviously this lifestyle that you've been able to achieve. You have an amazing home in Sweden where you live in a few months in the summer. You have this amazing home here, and it's December and it's like 20 degrees outside. You know, can you share a little bit like how much has this opportunity changed your life, and in all those little things, like small maybe details of lifestyle changes without revealing any like income things?
Yeah, of course. Last month I earned. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so. Yeah, I'm so fortunate because basically what we're able to do is live part of the year in Sweden when it's the summer months and maybe Christmas, and part of the year here in Spain. And here we have the sunrise every morning, and in Sweden we have the sunset in the evening. And because of this opportunity, I get to drop off my daughter at school or preschool every single morning and pick her up every single afternoon, and get to travel, you know, once or twice every month. So we don't need to have that worry about money, and also we have the time flexibility and also the time freedom to do what we want to do, and to really spend time with the children, to see them develop and to do activities, and that's life-changing, you know.
Yeah. So even though you have all this free time, you have a nanny as well. You have a cleaner that comes how many times a week?
3 times a week.
Okay. And do you do PT stuff as well?
Yep. So personal trainer. We have I have 2 virtual assistants. And,
All right. So 2 virtual assistants, which they help you with a lot. Like, how nice is that to have like somebody that you just kind of say like, there's some admin stuff you need to take care of, and you just kind of give them a call and say, hey.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, obviously a lot of things, you know, not only in the business but also personal stuff, like to help with the move and to arrange different things, and a financial planner and an accountant. So it's great to have people helping out. And I have to say, you know, that's a huge reason why and how I've reach a lot of my goals and to have a good level of success is because I had incredible people around me. And it truly, you know, from everywhere, from the people that I have in my business, in my team, to my senior partners, to people that I'm working with, you know, it's just amazing. And that's really key to my success. It's not only me, but it's if you can surround yourself with incredible people, it's going to help your success.
Absolutely. Brilliant. I think that's an awesome way to end it there. And thank you guys so much for inspiring so many of us to do better, you know. And what I really admire about Rick is like, he just kind of continues to do the business day in and day out. And he's always focusing on fun. Like you're always saying like, hey, if it's not fun, don't do it. Like just have fun the whole time. And you just love the business. You just continue to do it even though, yeah, I mean, we can't reveal anything, you know, how much money he made, for example, last month, but it's kind of sick. Like, it's just like, what? Like, can you actually make that much money in a month? And obviously, when you get to those stages, you know, you also are able to then look at things like property and whatever else, right? Which is kind of interesting. And he talks a lot to me about different investments and things like that, which is kind of fun. Like, it's fun to look at other ways to kind of grow that income as well. So I just want to thank you so much for introducing me to this opportunity, and for all of you that are out there that are looking at this business or looking at this industry, it is absolutely amazing what it can do for you. But just so you know, I mean, how many hours a day did you work? Did you work pretty much seven days a week? What, 12, 13 hours a day?
Yep, probably.
For how many years?
For many years. I was working very, very hard. I didn't have a family, so I didn't have just focused on myself and the business. And so I worked really, really hard. Something like that, yeah. Absolutely. And for any of you guys that are watching here, I mean, Daniel is a phenomenal leader in the business. I've worked with him now for 14 years, and his knowledge and commitment to the business is second to none. So he's one of the top leaders here in Europe and around the Nu Skin world. So we've had the pleasure of having a lot of fun together and working together. And yeah, just listen to what he says. And if he's not nice to you, then you call me, and then...
All right, I won't be nice to you, so all of you guys can call him. He just gave me permission to do that. All right, everybody, thank you guys so much for listening. You guys have an awesome evening. Cheers.